down to paint Macquarie Falls today, I can't help but think about all the memories my family and I have made along the Pacific coast over nearly 2 decades, and I'd love to share that with you today. In this video, you'll see my process from the very first sketch into the final watercolor washes on a beautiful rough 300-pound watercolor paper. This video is a story about time passing, about how our children grow and we change, and about the memories we carry with us, sometimes in our hearts, sometimes in our art. So, if you love watercolor or just want to relax and reflect on the beauty of memory and the ocean, you are in the right place. Please settle in and let's begin. My dear friends, as I sketch our first pencil sketch, I want to invite you to pause with me for a moment. Have you ever found yourself looking back at an old photo or revisiting a place from your past and suddenly feeling time slip through your fingers? Maybe, like me, you've noticed how the days with loved ones seem to pass in a blink of an eye, leaving behind a collection of memories that feel both distant and incredibly close. I wonder, what are the moments you hold on to? The small, precious scenes that live quietly in your heart. As I paint today, I can't help but think about how the time moves on for all of us, and how art gives us a way to honor those fleeting, beautiful days. If you'd like, take a breath with me, and let your mind wander to a memory that makes you smile, or maybe even brings a little ache of longing. You are not alone in feeling the weight and wonder of time passing. I hope this painting reminds you, as it does for me, to cherish the moments we have and the memories we carry. And as such memories drift through my mind, I find myself reaching for my sketchbook. Right now I'm sketching out the scene, letting my pencil wander across the page, just as my thoughts wander through those cherished moments. For those of you curious about the supplies I use, they tend to change from day to day. I love keeping things fresh and letting new materials spark my curiosity and excitement for painting. If you're ever wondering about specific brush or color, I always list everything I use in the description below. So feel free to check there or ask in the comments below. And today I feel drawn to talk about the memories I sometimes long for. Like the time my beloved dad visited me here in California. He is no longer with me, but I still have photographs and videos of his wonder and joy the first time he saw the Pacific Ocean. I remember bringing my sister here, and now my mom, both of us standing in awe at the rhythmic beauty of the waves. Years ago, we took my husband's family to this very spot, and now the coast has become a special place for our son, who loves nothing more than playing in the sand and tossing driftwood back into the sea. These memories fill me with warmth and gratitude, even as I feel a gentle ache for the time that's passed. Painting this scene is my way of holding on to those moments, and I hope, as you watch or paint along, you'll think of your own special memories and the people you've shared them with. take a look at what we've done so far. Right now, I'm working on the first wash, which I love doing because it's so forgiving and really lets me loosen up. For the sky, I used the wet-on-wet technique. I pre-wetted the paper, then dropped in cobalt blue, letting it flow down, and I helped to move it forward towards the horizon with a clean brush. I added a touch of ultramarine blue at the top to help the sky feel like it's receding into the distance. For this sketch, I felt like using the cool color, so I reached for the Rose Madder Genuine. It's a beautiful transparent rose color with a gentle non-staining quality, which means it's easy to adjust later. Kitty. Now that our first wash is completely dry, we've moved on to the second layer. Letting the paper and colors dry thoroughly is important. It helps prevent any lifting of the colors we've already laid down. As you can see, we've used all the colors I mentioned earlier to bring the cliff and trees to life. For the trees, I mixed hookah green and raw umber, adding touches of burnt sienna to suggest the tree trunks and branches. I let those colors flow down the cliff so the whole area feels like one continuous natural shape. And to add warmth to the cliff rocks, I layered new gamboge and rose madder. For the shadows and the darkest areas, I mixed alizarin crimson and ultramarine blue, which creates a rich, deep tone that really helps the form stand out. I love how all these colors interact on the paper without turning muddy. One tip to keep in mind here is to try not to overwork the paint or the paper. Too many brush strokes or adjustments can easily lead to muddy colors. I feel like oftentimes it's better to let the colors settle on their own terms, and we can simply observe and trust them. As I watch these colors settle and blend on paper, I can't help but think about how painting is so much like holding on to a memory. Each brushstroke is a moment fleeting as it's made, but somehow preserved in the finished piece, just as our days slip quietly into the past, leaving behind only memories. Time moves so quickly sometimes, and it feels like the years rush by in a blur. And all those little moments, family trips to the coast, laughter on the beach, the sound of waves, and the feeling of salty air become treasures we hold in our hearts. I often find myself longing for those days, wishing I could step back into them, just for a moment. But even as time carries us forward, these memories remain, woven into who we are. Painting helps me revisit those times. It's my way of honoring the people I love and the places that have shaped me. As my son grows, as my family changes, and as I grow older myself, I realize how precious it is to pause and really see the beauty in each day, even the ordinary ones. Maybe that's why I'm drawn to scenes like Macquay Falls. They remind me that while we can't stop time, we can choose to notice, to remember, and to create. Every painting becomes a little time capsule, a way to keep those memories alive and share them with others. So, as I watch this painting come together, I invite you to reflect in whatever way feels gentle and right for you. I realize that not all memories are easy, and we each carry our own stories. If you'd like, let this moment be about finding a sense of peace or gratitude, maybe for a small joy, a lesson learned, or simply the beauty of being present right now. Whether through art or in life, I hope you find inspiration and comfort in whatever form you need most today. Dear friends, we are about halfway through the painting now, and at this point I'm refining the shapes and adding in some smaller details. Soon I'll be removing the masking gum and adding gentle shadows to the waterfall itself and to the white foam of the ocean waves. And if you are following along and starting to feel a bit overwhelmed, especially if you are new to watercolors, please know that so many of us experience the same feelings. This medium can feel unpredictable at first, but with regular practice, it gets easier. If you'd like a little extra support, I invite you to check out my Watercolor Basics playlist, where I share practical tips and foundational techniques to help you build your confidence. And if you're curious to see how these techniques come together in finished pieces, my Watercolor Stories playlist is full of completed paintings and lessons I've learned along the way. I hope both playlists will inspire and encourage you on your own creative paths. And after I finish up with this part, I'll move on to painting this scene on a 300-pound rough watercolor paper. So stay tuned and watch as the painting continues to unfold. There's still so much more to discover together. Dear friends, for the last few moments I've let the painting process speak for itself, hoping you could just immerse yourself in the gentle flow of watercolor on this beautiful Arches 300-pound rough paper. Sometimes I think it's nice to simply watch and let the brushstrokes tell their own story. Now that we are back together, I want to share a bit about how different this rough paper feels compared to my usual Pentalic sketchbook. In my sketchbook, the paper is much smoother, so the paint tends to sit right on the surface. This means the colors stay vibrant and luminous, and you can really see every brushstroke. On a rough watercolor paper, the surface is full of texture, tiny hills and valleys that catch the paint in unique ways. When you lay down a wash, the pigment settles into those grooves, giving you a beautiful natural granulation and a sense of depth that's hard to achieve on smoother paper. But there is a trade-off. As the paint dries, the colors can look a bit softer and less intense because they sink into the paper's texture. That's just the nature of watercolor, and one of the reasons why the choice of paper matters so much in your final result. Every paper brings its own personality to a painting. Rough paper is wonderful for expressive textured pieces. And smooth or hot-pressed paper, on the other hand, are great for crisp details and vibrant color, while cold-press sits somewhere in between. If you're curious about the different types of watercolor paper and how they affect your painting, I have several videos on my channel that go into more detail about paper choices. Feel free to check out my video on types of watercolor paper if you'd like. Dear friends, if you are just starting out with watercolors, or maybe you are watching and feeling a bit intimidated by the medium, please allow me to share my thoughts and experiences with you. We all begin somewhere, and it's completely normal to feel a little intimidated and uncertain, especially when you see so many beautiful paintings online or in books. Sometimes it's the fear of making mistakes that holds us back. Or maybe it's the worry that we don't have the right supplies or enough time in our busy lives to dedicate to art. But here's the truth. Watercolor is for everyone. You don't need expensive professional supplies to start exploring and enjoying this beautiful medium. In fact, when I first began, I used whatever I had on hand, and I still do. Sometimes I paint on regular printer paper just to see how the colors mingle and move. Is printer paper made for watercolors? Not at all. But that doesn't matter to me when my goal is simply to play and experience the joy of color on page. I've even practiced on porcelain plates just for the fun of it. And as for the paints and brushes, academic or student-grade supplies are absolutely fine in the beginning. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The most important thing is to give yourself permission to experiment. Let yourself play with color, try different surfaces, and see what happens when you let go of expectations. Some of my favorite brushes are actually very affordable. They're not fancy and they definitely have the mind of their own, but I love and the unpredictability of all-purpose calligraphy brushes. They keep me curious and engaged. They may not be everyone's cup of tea, but they work for me, and that's what matters. So, if you are on a tight budget right now, please use whatever you have on hand. And if you only have a few minutes here and there, use those moments. You'll be surprised at what you can create in a short time. And if you are feeling nervous, remember that every artist, no matter how experienced, still makes mistakes and learns new things all the time. So choose supplies that fit your life and make you feel comfortable. Allow yourself to play, to experiment, and to follow your curiosity. If your heart and mind are yearning to paint, honor that feeling. Watercolor takes time to master, and every step you take, no matter how small, is meaningful. My dear friends, as we're gently moving forward, I just want to take a moment to reflect on everything we've shared today. Together, we've explored the gentle dance of watercolor on paper, experimented with colors and textures, and most importantly, allowed ourselves to play, to wonder, and to remember. Throughout this process, I've been thinking about how quickly time moves, how our children grow up, how our loved ones go, and how all those small precious moments become the memories that shape us. Painting is my way of honoring those memories, of holding on to the beauty of the past while also celebrating the present moment. The sound of the brush, the colors blooming on the page, the simple joy of creating something new. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, for painting along, for sharing your thoughts and encouragement, and for being part of this creative space. Your presence here means more to me than words can express. Living with a challenging health condition, I never could have imagined that art would allow me to connect with so many wonderful people all over the world. Because of you, I know I'm not alone, and I hope you feel that way too. No matter where you are on your creative path or what challenges you face, remember that you are part of a community that values your voice and your story. Please cherish your memories, notice the beauty in each present moment, and let your creativity be a source of comfort, hope, and connection. And just like the vast, beautiful, wild ocean that we've painted today, a place that is always changing, always moving, yet always here. I hope you find in yourself that same sense of wonder, resilience, and belonging. With all my love and gratitude, thank you for being here, for sharing this time, and for inspiring me every day. Until next time, keep painting, keep noticing, and keep cherishing the moments that matter the most.
Just wait, wait for better days to come and carry us like wind in our sails. Hold on tight. front of us if we just hold on tight. This vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn. Ooh, we are dreamers of the shore. 7 years now on this boat, and we all know where we belong. Just wait. Wait for our home to show on the horizon. Soon we'll be there. Hold on tight. I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we just hold on tight. This vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn. We are dreamers of the shore. When we can't read the sky, we just sail with the wind that we've got. And when we're drowning in doubt, just keep on believing. We are dreamers of the shore. At this moment, no one can tell where we should go or what's coming. We thought we had it, the truth about our common soul, that it was fantasy, nothing to put belief in. As soon as we saw the ocean, we knew what we had become, defying our own emotion, pretending land was our own. We couldn't embrace the notion that we were meant for something more, something beautiful, something beautiful. At this moment, it's time to tell where we should go. But how can I be sure? Can we change it? The truth about our common soul, to say we know it's real, something to put belief in. As soon as we saw the ocean, we knew what we had become, defying our own emotions, pretending land was our home. We couldn't embrace the notion that we were meant for something more, something beautiful, something beautiful. As soon as we saw the ocean, we knew what we had become, defying our own emotions, pretending land was our home. We couldn't embrace the notion